The Br. 1150 Atlantique was the fruit of one of the early examples of Europe's joint military aviation programs. It was an essential element for observing hostile naval activities from Europe to the Indian Ocean. Its updated version, the Atlantique II, is still on the job. Today, we're investigating the Atlantique and Atlantique II, the legendary long-range maritime patrol aircraft. The Atlantique is among the rare aircraft exclusively designed for maritime patrol missions. Despite its old age, the later Atlantique II variant is still playing a crucial role in many recent conflicts. Interestingly, these two versions have made a name for themselves over land rather than seas, especially in the French service. The creation of the Atlantique was directly related to the Soviet naval build-up efforts. To encounter the overwhelmingly large Western surface fleet, Stalin ordered hundreds of new submarines constructions after the Second World War. Also, the USSR began to work on its first nuclear submarine in the early 1950s. The piston engines of the P-2 and P-5 were unreliable, limiting their effectiveness in anti-submarine warfare, shortly ASW missions. Thankfully, turboprops had reached maturity in the late 1940s. So, on December 14, 1956, members of the NATO Council required maritime patrol and ASW aircraft with the new engine. The pact evaluated 31 projects from 8 countries and chose the offer from the French Bréguet company in 1959. Still, it would be executed as a multinational joint program. So, even though Bréguet was appointed as the technical prime contractor, the Société d'études et de construction de Bréguet Atlantique, shortly SECBAT, was established in 1961 for final design and production. The SECBAT also contained the Dutch Fokker, German Dornier, and Belgian ABAP companies. Besides, Fabrique Nationale d'Armée de Guerre in Belgium, MTU in Germany, and Hispanusuiza in France worked together for the production of the Rolls-Royce Tyne RTY-20 Mark 21 turboprop engines of the new aircraft under license. On the other hand, the mission equipment was mainly provided by the USA. As the technical contractor, Bréguet was also responsible for the final assembly. Since NATO means the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the aircraft was given the name Atlantique. The first prototype made its maiden flight on October 21, 1961, 3 years after the start of the full-scale design. The second machine crashed on April 19, 1962. Fortunately, this tragic accident did not stop the progress of the project. SECBAT delivered another 2 pre-production aircraft with a longer fuselage in 1963 and 1964 for trials. On June 6, 1963, France and Germany ordered 40 and 20 Atlantiques respectively. The first 2 serial production aircraft were delivered to both countries on December 10, 1965. As a NATO project, the initial plan had assumed the Allied nations would acquire at least 200 Atlantiques. Yet, even Belgium, one of the production partners, did not buy it. Since this country had already lost its colonies, it no longer needed a long-range maritime patrol aircraft. Due to Washington's political pressure, many NATO members preferred Lockheed's P-3 Orion or older low-cost surplus S-2s. Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa expressed their interest in the Atlantique. However, the NATO Council, in other words, the USA, blocked possible sales on the pretext that it would be too risky to sell critical technologies out of the pact. On the other hand, Washington did not hesitate to share Orion's technologies. Still, the Netherlands and Italy acquired the Atlantique later. So, alongside 2 prototypes and 2 pre-production aircraft, the SECBAT produced only 87 Atlantiques. The double-bubble fuselage of the Atlantique is made of corrosion-resistant aluminum. The upper lobe comprises a pressurized crew compartment. This section contains a small lounge and relaxation area with a small kitchen and toilet. Its central section has a bonded honeycomb sandwich skin. The lower lobe houses the weapons bay and sonobuoy tubes. The weapon bay, which can carry 8 to 9 lightweight ASW torpedoes or 12 depth charges, has a length of 9 meters and a volume of 23 cubic meters. The initial Atlantic variant could also carry the AS-12, AS-20, AS-30 anti-ship missiles, and AS-37 anti-radar missiles. Italian aircraft could be armed with NATO-provided nuclear bombs. Weapon bay doors and landing gear doors also have a bonded honeycomb sandwich skin. A radar is housed in a retractable under-fuselage radome, while a magnetic anomaly detector is placed in a tail boom. The bow tip below the cockpit is glazed all around by a plexiglass dome and contains a seat for an observer. The Tyne RTY-20 Mark 21 turboprop engines are comparatively quiet, which gives the Atlantic the nickname Whispering Giant. The aircraft has an auxiliary power unit for the pneumatic starters of the turboprop engines and to ensure pressurization on the ground. In a typical flight mission, the Atlantique performs an 8-hour low-altitude patrol at 1,100 km distance from the base. The aircraft can also patrol for 18 hours with a cruise speed of 320 km per hour. We should add that one Atlantique flew for 19 hours and 20 minutes non-stop. The studies on an improved version of the Atlantique began as early as 1970. After some options were examined, 3 participant countries withdrew from the project, and France decided to continue alone. In 1978, Paris authorized the development of a new variant, initially called the Atlantique Mark IV. Later, it was renamed as the Atlantique Nouvelle Génération, meaning Atlantic New Generation. Since no country other than France invested in this project, the name Atlantique turned to Atlantique II. It made its maiden flight on May 8, 1981. France authorized serial production on May 24, 1984. The first aircraft was delivered in 1989. Initially, the French Navy had planned to acquire 42 Atlantique IIs, aka ATL-2. However, due to changes in the threat perceptions and the shrinking of defense budgets after the end of the First Cold War, production ceased after 28 aircraft. Externally, the Atlantique II has a few changes compared to its predecessor. Its length has increased from 31.75 to 33.63 meters, and its wingspan has extended from 36.3 to 37.42 meters. Also, it has kept the Rolls-Royce Tyne RTY-20 Mark 21 turboprops. On the other hand, Atlantique II's mission equipment and avionics have been revised considerably. Besides, the corrosion resistance of the production materials has been improved by treatment with a special compound. Unlike its predecessor, the new variant has a forward-looking infrared camera turret installed under the nose and the capability of launching the Exocet AM-39 anti-ship missiles. Also, the aircraft can be equipped with the Magic II air-to-air missiles for self-defense. In the same year, France decided to upgrade 12 aircraft. The French Atlantique IIs now have the Mu-90 impact torpedo launching capability, the Westcam MX-20 electro-optical turret, the Searchmaster active electronically scanned array AESA radar, and the latest generation airdrop sonobuoys for submarine detection. Derived from the RBE-2AA active electronically scanned array radar developed for the Rafale, the new radar has a detection range of 360 kilometers. It's effective on both land and sea. This modernization increases the AL-2's service lives towards 2035. Dassault offered the Atlantique IIIs to the Royal Air Force to replace the Nimrods. However, the company withdrew from the competition in 1996 due to the aircraft's low chance of being selected. Unlike its predecessors, the Atlantique III would have a glass cockpit and upgraded Allison AE2100H turboprop engines with new 6-bladed composite propellers. This version was also offered to Germany, Italy, and France. After all efforts were fruitless, Dassault ceased marketing the Atlantique III. The Bréguet 1150M Atlantique was the Elant variant developed for Germany. The distinct visual difference of this version was the extended containers of the electronic support measure system on the wingtips. France is the only user of the Atlantique II. France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, and Pakistan retired the previous Atlantique version. The 10-person crew of the Atlantique II consists of a pilot, co-pilot, flight engineer, radio navigator, ESM/ECM MAT operator, radar IFF operator, tactical coordinator, 2 acoustic sensor operators, and 3 observers. The aircraft has a length of 33.63 meters, a wingspan of 37.42 meters, and a height of 10.89 meters. Its wing area is 120.34 square meters. The Atlantic II has an empty weight of 25,600 kilograms and a maximum takeoff weight of 46,200 kilograms. Two 6,100 shaft horsepower Rolls-Royce Tyne RTY20 Mark 21 turboprop engines provide 648 kilometers per hour. Patrol speed of the aircraft is 315 kilometers per hour. Its range is 9,075 kilometers. The Atlantic II can climb to an altitude of 9,145 meters, in other words, 30,000 feet. Even though it was a maritime patrol and ASW aircraft, the French used the Atlantic in a combat mission for the first time over land in 1987. A single machine operated SIGINT and airborne command and control missions over Chad during Operation Hypervier against Libya. France retired the Atlantic in 1996. Yet, the Atlantic II's saga has continued. During the 1991 Kosovo War, these aircraft performed surveillance flights over the combat area. Alongside surveillance, reconnaissance, and airborne command and control missions, the French used Atlantic IIs for bombing missions over Mali and Syria. They performed many precision strikes by dropping GBU-12 laser-guided bombs. During the First Cold War, the German Bréguet 1150M Atlantics performed many ELANT missions across the Baltic Sea and along the border with East Germany. During the 1990s, Germany deployed them to observe the United Nations embargo of Yugoslavia and for reconnaissance flights during the Kosovo War in 1999. The German Atlantics were retired on June 20, 2010. The Royal Netherlands Navy, which defined its Atlantics as the SP-13A, lost 3 aircraft in accidents between 1973 and 1981. After the last incident, they were grounded. Then the Netherlands retired them in 1984. Italy decommissioned its last Atlantic in 2017. Pakistan acquired 3 second-hand Atlantic from France. In 1991, one of them was shot down by an R-60 air-to-air missile fired from an Indian MiG-21 due to airspace violation. Pakistan retired the remaining 2 Atlantics in 2017. Even though many sources mention the Atlantic as the first and only aircraft exclusively designed for maritime patrol missions, there were other such planes like many flying boats and the Grumman S-2 tracker. Still, as a land-based maritime patrol and ASW aircraft, the Atlantic and Atlantic II have remained unique. The dirty play of the USA blocked its possible marketing success. The Atlantic's low-volume production caused maintainability problems, which led to a premature retirement in Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, and Pakistan. Still, this aircraft has managed to ride its saga and become a legend. Thanks for watching our video. And please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell button to be notified of our new videos. Also, you can now click the join button to support our channel. And as always, we would greatly appreciate all of your likes, comments, and shares.